Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Another blustery day here at Stormvale, and I've been competing again. And quite recently, I'm saying within the last 2 or 3 weeks or so since this will be uploaded, I've participated in a PlayStation tournament right here in Stormvale. Stormvale, of course, is a classic arena. It's probably the best arena that Vanilla has to offer. That is to say, base Elden Ring here. It's small-ish, has good corner pressure. The only downside is that there's one corner where people can't be seen, which is unfortunate, and likewise there is this sheer drop the other side, which is of course not great, but I had a good time, and I think I've learned some lessons that I hopefully will be useful to all of you, and we should probably get crack on. And I believe the first match is between myself and Charles, very low lap match. And I think there's a very, very clear mistake, which you'll all see very, very soon. But yeah, cheers again to the PlayStation PvP crowd and Veg Georgie for hosting. And we'll crack on with the vid. And hopefully this will work. It does. And we see me here giving poor old Georgie a bit of a slap there. But yeah, getting healed up. Tournaments are always interesting in Elden Ring. It was a hot minute really since I properly competed. I played in the FOC beforehand, and the Bold is out. We see the Physic. I believe it's the Crimson World, the one that the second chanced here on top of the Opline. Getting hit there very, very quickly there, but just a really nice aggression there on the side of Charles. Charles, I've had the pleasure of playing with a fair bit in that jump, and we're going to see some pretty serious trouble here. I had promised in a prior tournament that I would never, in a million years, not in a million years, chase a rule set again. I'm not comfortable in very many setups. We see a nice JL1, but it turns out I was not prepared in the least. I had just found out, we'll say the day of the tourney, that Siluria's was unbanned, which is on me. So obviously, important thing is to read the bloody rule set, as we see me there get absolutely obliterated by Charles. He's a good PSGS, pretty solid PSGS player. And I made a massive blunder of trying to force a mirror. I was unprepared, both in terms of like using the setup under pressure, which can mean a lot. And also, we'll see now that I just go immediately for the swap here as I swap over my tallies. I'm back on Dagger. Now, comfort picks are something I talk about when I'm hosting tournaments. You can tell when a player is very, very comfortable with a particular setup. And this is one of those cases where I was not comfortable. So immediately swap back over. I have a stock that I'm able to take out, that I'm able to hopefully fight over a little bit better. But now I'm under pressure. It's a best of 3, which means that it's first 2, which can be an awful lot of pressure we see here fighting out that neutral game. And that's something that Halberd does have. It's quite slow, as we see here. It can get interrupted, and we see the dagger spam coming out there. Charles reconsiders his little bit of aggression. But as we'll see here, there's a few mistakes. That or jump or 2 was not a good idea, as I decide to, instead of reaction rolling to the JL1, end up just eating it. Just fail a reaction check there as well, which is something that I really, really, really need to work on as the phalanxes come out here, just to try and pepper me with a little bit of pressure. I roll out that jump attack. That's something that you'll see an awful lot of good PSGS players do. They're not just focused on just the standard L1s. We see here, I'm forcing here. I think I'm going to hit him, and he gets a beautiful strafe again. We're on like 20 ping max. It could be considerably less. Ireland, of course, is very good routing to itself, so end of the laggard accusations cannot be used in that one. And that's the end of my little run through winners bracket. But don't worry, it was double elimination, as we'll see now in a second as I mosey on over into the second match, which is round 1 of losers between myself and Dominus. Of course, myself and Dominus have fought an awful lot both in the arena and on stream. Dominus is a solid player. NA Central, thereabouts, if I'm unmistaken, as he goes for this. I'm not actually sure what that debuff does to me. I think I might take an extra little bit of damage, and he goes for the Frost as well. Now, against his Halberd, I'm really confident. Halberd mirrors I can just about do, even on this slash. You know, you have strafes. I have a better neutral option in terms of my standing R1s. His aren't great, as he swaps right back over onto the Frozen Needle. Frozen Needle main is our Dominus. So I played the first half there really, really nicely, forcing him to engage, trying to him to come to me, and I can swat aside his pressure. You'll see here my rolls discipline is something that really needs to be worked on. The roll discipline I have in this match is absolutely abysmal. He swaps back over to that. I could have probably gone for a dagger attack. I go for a flaming strike with neutral, which, as I find out, I might do a second video on that, on when's the good times to use a flame strike. Flame strike, of course, is a very, very strong Ash of War, and it's probably the bread and butter of Halberd setups right now. And I am using it very improperly. Another thing that you're going to notice here, given the latency, as I go for these jump R2s, which, while latency does improve my recovery, and roll straight back there, while the Halberd recovery on the R2 isn't terrible, especially on latency, against the TS on the latency that we're at, it's just, I'm never going to hit him. All he has to do is double roll. Go for a run R2 there, just in case he goes for a strafe. He's low enough that I don't think he will. We're both very, very low here, so you can see these cautious plays, trying to force that out. I go for that jump attack there. Was kind of the proper thing to do from talking to some people, but again, the jumpings on Halberds are just not good, as we get that nice little bit of pressure. He whiffs, and then a latency hit then to finish it out. So the lad is quite rough. That was down to like nothing. I think it was on like 10 HP or something like that. 30. No, actually, I think it was like 30 or something. I could check I could check again, but I don't think it really matters. I got really lucky there. I have a strange feeling what happened there with Dominus. This is just tourney nerves. I've been in more tournaments than I can justify, given how bad I am. But yeah. Not playing in many tournaments can definitely, you have to have the right mindset of working well under that pressure, realizing that little bit of adrenaline, as silly as it is to say, you do have a little shot of being under pressure, you have to perform well. He gets caught in his menus here. Now this is another thing. There's a reason why an awful lot of people don't go for those long ass buffs, and the simple reason is that the other person isn't going to let you buff, because the buffs aren't free. Always remember that he's caught in here, and I kind of should have flame striked here. I'm content to kind of dagger away, and you're going to find that I'm not very, the L2 button and me are not all that glued together, which is unfortunate. Very rapid swap there over to try and get that just extra little bit of utility I can get here. I get kind of chipped down a little bit. He has a good comeback. I do roll out that as opposed to strafing it. I could have L1'd there, but I just wasn't feeling particularly safe in doing it, as I do get hit here. Dominus does go in for that nice little bit of pressure. When he's on the Halberd, I feel an awful lot more confident. I'm not sure what the exact matchup details are between like something like Frozen Needle and Halberd, but on paper, Thrusting Sword does beat Halberd. So I'm in a disadvantaged matchup here. He can roll in unless I flame strike. He has very good neutral options. He can R1 and then just roll out immediately. He's able to cover a good amount of ground. I get punished there. I managed to get that little bit of pressure. I'm just going to run at him a little bit. I go for the crouch R1 then, just in case he goes for a strafe. That was more or less, he's in range. Worst case scenario is he rolls out and he's stuck in the corner. I can maybe set up for a flame strike there. So, disadvantaged matchup. I have to leverage some tricks like those crouch attacks if he tries to go for strafes or something like that. But he does have a little bit of an advantage. GG's to Dominus. He played really well there. That was some really close matches, and I got kind of lucky with a couple of the decisions that I made. This here is Flexx, or used to go by Flexx. I can't remember what they go by now in the PSN Discord, but it is going to be Shunter versus Hallstock. Or Haldag, sorry, excuse me. This matchup, I feel much more comfortable going off Thrusting Sword, which is why I said it in the first place. Just because you have much better whiff punish options. But in this match, I feel like he didn't really do all that much damage. Now I go for this little strafe interaction here. I do roll it out eventually anyway, and I attempted to strafe there. I go for a jump R2. That was very risky. I got away with it because he didn't press, and I try and go for a flame strike there, but I'm interrupted. I'm not sure if that was really the play anyway, and I kind of just spam with the dagger here, and I managed to take him out. And that's something that I've been told, is that when someone is close, mash that dagger. It's quick enough that if you take your time and you're not literally slamming your forehead against the L1, then you should be okay against most setups. We'll see it again here. I kind of get away with murder in this match. I don't know if it's inexperience, again, nerves, but I'm kind of he doesn't do much damage. I think at one point, 2 L1s for me were doing similar amounts of damage, so I can just spam to my heart's content. He goes in for this, the Oh, managed to catch him there with the flame strike. I think that was the only really good flame strike I did in the entire tournament, if I'm being honest. Managed to get that interrupt there. He takes a little bit of damage. I do get clipped by a half hit, and you see how little damage he's doing here. I'm kind of perplexed at this stage as to what build he was rocking. And even here, like the JL1 should have basically halved my health bar. But thankfully not, and I'm just able to go in with impunity. I roll out those. I kind of see it coming eventually. I get away with it with that press. But he's on the back foot now. He runs away, and I actually, weirdly enough, double rolled that. In hindsight, I believe that was me trying to go for a run, and the input's just getting a little bit weird. Catch him in the corner there. Could have flame strike. Probably would have been better to flame strike, go for a jump or two. He's under pressure, and then the flame strike trade there. He's practically dead. I could have gone for a dagger hit, I think, to play it on the safe side. But yeah, I think that's that match. You know, GG to Flexx. No disrespect at all. Everyone's at different levels here, and at the end of the day, like, anyone playing in these tournaments is phenomenal. And now you get to see little old Enda, the Enda dude, going up against Frosty. Now, Frosty's a phenomenal player. Probably one of the who does that players, which I love casting for. I just love players like that. I get knowledge check real hard here. I have no idea what to do. He's playing really good rushdown. He has a hyper armor option at all times just to shut down the bird. Flame strike might have come in clutch here. I'm not sure if it would have been enough to break per se, but it would have been enough to keep him honest. I'm confused by whatever I'm supposed to. Actually, you know what? Let's watch that one. Let's watch that one back, shall we? Because it happens so quickly. So yeah, Frosty is an amazing player. He's tournaments under his belt. He's second, third places here, there, and everywhere. You know, he's a good player. He brings some weird, janky stuff we see. Even the jumping attack had hyper armor there on that one. Not able to interrupt. I have no idea what to do here. In hindsight, playing a much more cautious game and playing runaway as opposed to trying to counter pressure could have been a good option. But he runs me down. He abuses the fact that my rolls just aren't quite there. And he does an absolutely phenomenal job of putting me away in that match. So, you know, blink and you'll miss it kind of a deal, especially with something that's as low damaging as a Morning Star. I'm shocked he didn't bring a flail into that one, but yeah, GG's to Frosty for that round. There was another round which I've cut out because it was connection issues, just to keep everything level with what was on the tournament. So we just did a reset on it, and very graciously Frosty won it and still insisted on a reset for it. So GG's to him. Now this is kind of another one of those. I don't know who I fought who's used to set up like this. Off cat, we see the swap over. Just try and get that. I try and go for a strafe. I do get a little bit of damage on that one. I'm not quite sure. Again, it's NA Central to EU. There's going to be certain issues. I managed to get caught off by that there. I kind of go for a little bit of pressure. In hindsight, I should have probably walked away, to be honest with you. And now I'm just mad. I'm just like, what do I even do? I'm being hit by stuff that I feel I shouldn't be. I get frustrated, and the mental, unfortunately, fails me. So that's that round, and that's the little tournament recap. Just some closing thoughts, I think, as we're here. GG's, they did try out in 164, I think it was regular meta level plus add 30, whatever. You had to add 99 vit to it. Talked to some players, they seemed pretty happy with it. I didn't really find a difference. My matches kind of went fairly short. That could be just skill discrepancy, or could be very much of anything, because I know that the absorption is boosted in it. But either way, GG's to the Ape Station Court, as I call them, the PSN Court, and to Veggie Georgie for hosting the tournament. GG's to all of my opponents. I hope you had a good time, and again, that's all for me. GG's everyone, have a good one, and we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.